everybody. I hope you had a fantastic week. Thank you all to everybody who wished me birthday wishes. It was so nice to hear from you guys. And I, as promised, I'm going to do a making video today. So I am going to take this item off my to-do list and make a super special commission for one of my subscribers. Hi, Julie. Thank you for being so amazing. So I thought I'd show you guys how I'm going to do it. So it's going to be a little bit more of a detailed exploration into the making process with a little bit less talking, but I'm going to explain a little bit along the way about how I'm doing things, why I'm doing things. So I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get crackling. So I have two saws because obviously when you're cutting something big and long like this, you need to be able to reach. So I've gone as far as I can with my normal blade this way, and now I'm going to use my big frame, which gives me a lot more space so I can cut all the way from that side. So when you're putting a blade in, it's got teeny little teeth on it, teeny tiny teeth. So you need to make sure that the teeth are facing forwards and down. So like that, and make sure there's got a nice ping to it. So I'm going to start from this side now, this one. And also what I'm doing is cutting just outside of the line that I drew. It's obviously a bit trickier to do it from this side because there's not much to hold, but you need to cut just outside the line so that you can file onto the line. So you can file down to the line. wrap this around something and then use the binding wire to bind them together and then solder. I need something round. There was a cup on my desk. I'm just going to try it out for size. So we just need to wrap it around. I don't actually have a bangle mandrel, but I don't make too many bangles, so this should be okay. So the idea is that these are going to overlap by 1 centimeter and then be soldered together there and have a gap there. So I think that's gonna look super cool. Loving that. Just tightening this one up a little bit because I really don't want a gap between there, but you got to be a bit careful when you're using this binding wire. If you tighten it too much, then it can just snap because it's quite brittle. So fingers crossed, that should be good. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mix up some flux. So I've got a bit of water here and I'm just going to grind. This is like a borax cone. Grind it into a little paste. Water. And then I'm just going to put this on here. So this stops it from oxidizing because we don't want any oxidization because that will then not allow the solder to flow. I'm going to get a bit of solder in here. So I'm going to position it on top so that it runs down in between. So I'm going to get a like reasonably biggish one. So when you're putting the binding wire, it's good to leave like little gaps between so that you can have space for your solder. My hands are a little bit shaky because I'm hungry. It's nearly lunchtime. So let's do another one over there. Maybe that one's a touch on the big side. To solder there.
Yeah, the piece is moved.
And, sometimes things don't go as planned. As you saw, the piece moved a little bit. So the reason for that was because the metal that I was using, the silver piece, had a bit of elasticity in it. So as the metal heated up, it slipped a little bit. So even though the thing was tight, maybe it wasn't tight enough in conjunction with the force pulling this way. So it slipped a little bit, but obviously I needed to fit exactly at that point. So I've taken it apart and also taken off the binding wire because we don't want to put binding wire in the pickle. And yes, this is the camera that has got the super duper awesome macro lens, which we just got back. So I'm going to start with the brass one now, and then while that one's cleaning, then we'll do this one and then we'll come back to that one afterwards. To avoid the same thing happening again, I'm just going to pinch it a bit here. When you're soldering, it doesn't matter what the shape is because then you can always just round it up afterwards. So I am just going to bend it like that so that it's not pulling as tight against my join. But I think this one looks reasonably tight, so let's give it a go. So what I do is I come from further away to start off with, because the solder is going to bubble. So you see how it's going all white, and then you see how the solder flicks. That's That's what it loves to do. So that's why you go slowly. And yeah, it's a thing. Don't feel bad. Just reposition it again. And let's go again. So gently to start off with. So once it goes from the flicky solder stage, it goes to the sticky stage, so then they stick and the flux gets really sticky, and then you know you're good and you can come in a bit closer. So there we go. And now we need to get this nice and hot. Give it a little quench. And then we need to take this off. Don't forget to take off your binding wire. Sometimes a little bit of it gets soldered down, but you can just file it off afterwards. So there was excess solder here anyway, so I'm just going to solder that down anyway. Voila, so no more binding wire, so I'm going to put that in the pickle so that it can clean, and then I will work on the other one. Swapsies. Alright, round 2. Here we go. Still reasonably soft right now because of the heat from the annealing when I soldered it, but I'm going to put it in the tumbler afterwards, which will make it hard again. So just want to see if these two line up well. And then we can obviously round those off nicely once they're together. Make it perfect. So what I need to do now is I'm going to bind around here because I want to solder these two together here, but then I'm going to open them a little bit so that there's a little bit of a gap between, like that. Not maybe that much, maybe a little bit. Something like that. We'll see how that goes. Yes. It's gonna look good. Alright, so what we're gonna do now is join the two together down the middle and position some solder over there, and so I've taken off the binding wire, and now there's little bits of solder and those need to be filed down. So I'm just using my little needle file to get rid of those, and then we will sand. So the idea is not to put too many scratches in unnecessarily. So just try and work where the solder is. And obviously because the solder is silver, I really don't want any of the silver on the brass side. Really? So just try and work where the solder is.
Hey babe.
Hey.
Someone just wrote a real nice comment on the YouTube video.
Aww. Your videos are inspiring me so much already. Only found you today. I'm binge watching now. Thank you, Megan. Aww, Natalie. Yay. Thank you. Oh, you see, that makes it worth my while. You know, that's, you know, it's really nice to hear those comments. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Natalie. So I'm just trying to get in here in this hard to reach area where this join is. So I've moved to hand sandpaper. I'm just folded it in half and just trying to get in there, make it all shiny. Good, that is looking super good. But what I'm gonna do now is put this into my barrel polisher, which is going to roll around with some little metal shot, it's called. And that's going to make it hard. So basically then it's going to keep its shape and have a lot more life in it. So let's give it a rinse first because I don't want any of the steel wool in there. And then I'll show you how to do that. So this is my little mini barrel polisher. And I'm going to put it into here. I've given it a little wash and my hands. And I'm just going to chuck it in here. So what's in here is these little metal things. They're called shot apparently, and a polishing compound. So yes, it looks a bit sticky. It's kind of soapy. So basically it's going to roll around in there, and then because basically anything bashing against metal makes it hard. So when you hit it with a mallet, when you hit it with a normal hammer, ball peen hammer for example, when you're sanding, filing, all of those things, they so all of those things basically help to harden the metal. So I'm gonna put this on here like this, and then you plug it in. Right, so I'm gonna leave that on there for about an hour, so that will come out all nice and shiny and nice and hard, so it should be a lot more durable. And when it's done, I'll take it out, give it a little wash off, and show you guys how it looks. Right, let's see what's inside. See how it's turned out. It's gonna be all frothy. Ta-da! Give it a little rinse off. Great. So that should be all robust now. Happy days. So this was a lovely commission that I made for Julie. And Julie, I hope you enjoyed watching how it was made. And here's a sneak peek, which you're probably going to see before you actually receive it. So, ta-da! So it's got a join at the back and then a little gap between as you designed it. So yeah, I think it looks great. Hope you like it, and I'll be posting that out to you soon. And I hope the rest of you guys really enjoyed getting a little peek into how something a little bit more technical with the soldering goes if you're just starting out, and the use of binding wire, which is also really helpful. You literally can't live without it when you start making slightly more complex things. Thank you once again to everybody who has subscribed. Once again, my heart is filled with joy whenever I see a little notification on my phone saying somebody has subscribed to my YouTube channel. So thank you, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week Sunday with a really special video. Oh yeah. For now, have an awesome week. Bye guys.